Hi, everyone. It's a little after 5 on Monday, the 29th, and this is your closing comment. It's video number 308, and if you appreciate the work, please subscribe. So we started off up about 200 as the futures implied. And in a very short period of time, we were down on the day. Uh, Everybody thought maybe we'd get a reversal, but the market did exactly the opposite. After testing down a couple of dollars, after being up 200, we rallied and continued to build all day, making a high of up about 550, selling off between 230 and 315 back into the low 400s and then turning right back up. And at the end of the day, we finished with the Dow up 580 or 2.3%, NASDAQ up 117 or 1.2%. The S&P's up 44, 1.4%, and the big winner of the day was the Russell, up $42.43 or 3.1%, and even the transports participated, up 246. Coming in second behind the Russell, but ahead of the Dow Industrials, up 2.8%. On the NYSE, the advanced declines were 3 to 1 up. On the NASDAQ, a little weaker at 2 to 1 up, but the NASDAQ had a really interesting day. Volume on the NYSE was about unchanged from Friday, same with the NASDAQ, but the advancing declining volume on the NYSE was 5 to 1 up. After the close, we had earnings from Micron and Xilinx. Micron beat both top and bottom lines and gave solid guidance. And the stock, which was up anyway during the day, managed to move an additional $2.96 to 52.11, up 6%. Xilinx, same situation, beat both revenues and earnings and gave good guidance, and managed to move up further to 98.47, up 6.5 or 7%. The banks are starting to disclose what their deal is with the dividends, and so far, the banks that have come out and said they are not going to cut dividends, reaffirming their third quarter dividends, are Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Citi. We haven't heard anything from JP Morgan, and we have heard from Wells Fargo, who says they are going to have to cut their dividend. Sheila Bair was just on CNBC. She's the ex-head of the FDIC, and she seems to think that banks should suspend all dividends in the third quarter and see what the economy really looks like. And she makes a very good argument about small business bankruptcies and failures and loan loss reserves. From my perspective, I kind of agree with her a little, because I know that a lot of the public has been getting those $600 to $800 a week checks and haven't really had a lot of places to spend that money. So deposits may be a little higher. Also, the rent moratorium and the moratorium on evictions kind of plays into that. Simon Properties also had news this afternoon. The stock had actually closed at 68.13, which was up 6.25 or 10%. But they came out after the close and gave the reopening statistics, and they are open 199 of their 204 centers across 37 states, and they seem to be doing just fine. They reaffirmed their dividend and also said they expect to pay $6 a share in cash. So after closing 68 and change, the stock moved up to 73.80. The last is 72.52, which is up an additional $4.39 or 6.4%. So very healthy. The big feature of the day was quite obviously Boeing. Of the 580 points that the Dow was up, 168 of them were from Boeing alone. To give you an idea of how the rest of the market fared in the Dow, there was only one stock down, 29 up, and but the distance between Boeing and everyone else was pretty amazing. Boeing, as I said, 168 points. Apple only 56, Home Depot only 35, and Goldman Sachs 30. So it was pretty much across the board. Okay, so the chart on the screen is the oil, and we talked about this morning, and I said we were down here at support, and we stayed at support for a little while. But by the end of the day, not only had we made an outside day, that is, it was a lower low this morning and a higher high this afternoon, we also closed on that higher high. The last is 39.63, and that's $1.14 up on the day and over $2 higher than where we were this morning. The gold closed about mid-range on the day. It wasn't an exceptionally small range, excuse me, but it was only a medium range day. And I think we closed up about $4. What I want to show you, though, is an amazing chart. Chesapeake, which was the biggest in natural gas, declared bankruptcy over the weekend. And there was a lot of talk about the dramatic fall in nat gas. As you can see back here in May, natural gas was up in the 245 area, and it closed on Friday down here at $1.54.4, which was down about 30 cents on the week. Today's action, though, was a gap to the upside and a rally as high as $1.75, closing, as you can see, up 16.5 cents or almost 11%. This is a very tough market. The more oil that is produced, the more nat gas is produced. It's been at such a low price relative to its historic pricing. As you can see, it was $9 here in November of 18, and a couple of years before that, it was as high as, I'm sorry, this was $5. It was as high as $5.75. It has in the past been much higher. This was $15. So we have very cheap natural gas, and it's so cheap that a lot of, before the environmentalists came around, a lot of the we're actually just flaring it. In other words, just burning it off rather than trying to capture it and store it. One more statistic today at 10 o'clock, we had the May pending home sales, and they were astonishingly good. They were up 44.3%, and the only negative about that was the fact that inventory of homes for sale are down 19%. So that should tell you something about what the home builders look like once we get this, the availability of labor back to work. because that's one of the things that is part of the reopening. Okay, everyone, it was a pretty good day, and I'll be back first thing in the morning. Don't forget to subscribe.